Welcome back to the Global Resilience Exchange YouTube channel hosted by me, Daniela. Such a pleasure to have you all back returning for another recap and reflection of the discussion from our every third Wednesday of the month discussion with resilience professionals from around the globe. I want to encourage you in advance to please leave a comment, to give us a thumbs up, and to subscribe to the channel if you like what you're hearing. We discussed three major topics during the September Global Resilience Exchange, and I want to offer a recap and a reflection on each of those topics. So, the first topic raised was about really centered on geopolitics, specifically conflicts. How are business continuity and resilience professionals able to comfort their clients and customers that they can handle the conflicts that are happening across the world? In this ever connected society and global economies, even if something is not happening in your backyard, it's really important to understand that it could impact you and your business. And sometimes we're managing things that cross borders. So, how are you managing customer expectations when dealing with conflicts? So, right now, Ukraine is still in conflict. There is conflict in Lebanon. There is conflict in Venezuela. There are issues in, and across Africa. And so, how can we manage this? And I like to point out that a lot of the things that we're managing are actually outside of our control, right? So we really do have to focus on the expectations. I can never promise a client or a customer, don't worry, our building is never going to collapse. We're hardened, we're fortified, we got this, right? Because then the next thing you know, a missile flies by, and it may not be the missile that hits us, but maybe some shrapnel or something from the building next to our building that hits us and causes damage. So we still have to focus on our priorities, which is life safety, right? How are we going to protect the people who do the work? And so managing those expectations, I think, is very important. And then one of the comments that was received and well received at that is to have an all hazards approach. um, what is it that we are capable of doing with the resources that we have? And then understanding what happens when those resources are no longer available. So it doesn't really matter what the issue is, if it's conflict, if it's a natural hazard, what can we do? What can we not do? And I think something that's very important for us to really double down on is our supply chain. That's the best way for me to explain this to people is if I have a vendor, a supplier in Russia or Ukraine right now, how are we dealing with that? Their resources have changed, their abilities have changed during this conflict. And this is not a choosing a side, one or the other. There's a reality to it. People have been going through this for a long time now. They're tired, and the end is not necessarily in sight. So, how are you going to pivot to be able to manage the expectations of your clients and customers, but also support your employees? So, it was a lot of good food for thought, especially in the considerations of private sector versus public sector. The second topic was interesting and a first for the Global Resilience Exchange, and it was, are people seeing ageism or sexism in hiring for resilience professions? I highlighted the global compensation report that Cheyenne Marling just issued a few months ago. You can also see her interview on this channel about the 23rd compensation report, which does talk a lot about the demographics of who is in resilience. Overall, ageism seemed to be a little bit regional specific. Um, some countries have rules and regulations to protect while others absolutely reject based on their cultural norms. Um, we did have a few folks that felt that the ageism didn't really make sense. Why turn away folks that have been doing the role for a long time and have a lot of experience? And we talked about this idea of longevity. Are employers not hiring older professionals because they don't think they're going to last long? And I brought up the point that that's really not a good reason because we know the data shows that young people don't stick around for too long, right? And as a woman of childbearing age, I'd hate for someone to be like, well, oh, she could get pregnant at any moment, so let's not hire her because she may not be here long. Everyone is an individual, and you have to look at what they can bring to the table, not necessarily what they can take away. We also had a conversation about sexism, and it seems like over time there has certainly been an increase in the amount of women that have entered the field. Many noting that sometimes there are actually more women in the building than there are men, and that is a change that most of us saw as positive. There was also a conversation about diversity and how that's also changing. Some people were very against having quotas to meet diversity standards, while others encourage having diverse perspectives in order to truly make sure that they are able to respond and recover in the diverse communities that they serve. I think diversity, equity, inclusion is a crucial part of really making sure that you have a resilient community because most of our communities are, in fact, diverse. And that doesn't always mean different colors or different religions or different genders. There are also hidden diversity, that is in the community. So that's something to consider. Our last topic was raised about professional development, and the question really stemmed around outside of certifications, what type of courses are people engaging in to increase their professional expertise? A few folks highlighted the ISO lead implementer course and the auditor course. A lot of them got good skills that they were able to bring back to their organization and highlighted that it was really a benefit to them. Over and beyond what they paid, it was worth it. We also got into the conversation of conferences being, expensive. Some of the bigger ones, certainly over $1,000. But we talked about being able to present to offset that registration fee, and so that your company or you would just have to fund the travel and accommodation. So that was a nice hack that I brought up about submitting a paper or a presentation for a conference. And then someone else also recommended the smaller conferences, right? The 1 day summits, the ACP meetings, if you're in the United States of America, that could really be beneficial to you. And if you are an introvert, which one of our participants was, he said he really did appreciate those smaller conferences. It was less overwhelming. So that is something to keep in mind. We have some really big conferences in our industry, and we have some, bite-sized conferences. Content-wise, though, you're still getting real professionals who are presenting and contributing. So I'd love to hear from you. What type of professional development are you all doing? So please leave a comment. Are you focused on certification? Are you focused on courses? Are you focused on conferences? Are you doing LinkedIn learning? Let us know in the comments how you are developing yourself. I want to encourage you that if anything resonated during this conversation, to please give this video a thumbs up. And If you are interested in hearing more about what the resilience community is talking about around the globe, definitely subscribe to this channel. More videos are coming. I'm trying to be more active and posting, and I'm really so excited for what this community is um, creating and sustaining. And so stick with this channel. Thanks to all the new subscribers and those who will subscribe. Happy to have you. And once again, my name is Daniela, and this is the Global Resilience Exchange.